What is up, guys? Let's talk about something that has been blowing up my DMs. Something that has millions of people hooked to their phones. I'm talking about the Pi network. You've probably heard about it from a friend or seen it on social media. It claims to be the first cryptocurrency you can mine on your phone. Yes, right from your mobile device. No need for those super expensive, power-hungry computers that Bitcoin miners use. This idea alone is revolutionary. It promises to make cryptocurrency accessible to everyone, not just tech gurus, not just rich investors. It's like they're trying to give financial power back to the common person, and that's a mission I can get behind. The popularity of Pi network is insane. We're talking about over 55 million users, all tapping a button on their phones every single day. They call themselves pioneers. Why are so many people doing this? Because it's easy, it's free, and it holds a promise. The promise of one day owning a digital currency that could be worth real money. Right now, these Pi coins can't be traded on major exchanges. They exist inside a closed system, a mainnet enclosed network. Think of it like reward points you collect from a store. You have them, but you can only use them in specific ways. Alright, hold on to your seats, because this is where the story takes a wild turn. The internet is buzzing. The entire Pi community is on fire with a new rumor. Major banks are secretly getting ready to adopt Pi network, and they're assigning it a shocking value. $314,159 per single Pi coin. Let me repeat that. $314,159. This has spread across social media, Twitter, Telegram groups. The community points to screenshots and unverified leaks. They suggest some financial institutions are testing systems to integrate Pi. These posts claim the price is a consensus value agreed upon by pioneers and early business partners. They say a high starting value is needed for Pi to handle trillions of dollars in transactions. It's a bold and ambitious vision. Imagine the people who have been patiently mining for years, accumulating hundreds of Pi coins, or thousands of Pi coins. For them, this isn't just news, it's a potential lottery ticket win. If this rumor is true, it would make many early adopters millionaires overnight. But here's the reality check. As of today, September 15, 2025, the Pi core team has not officially confirmed any of this. To understand the scale of what Pi is trying to do, we need to compare it to the king of crypto, Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the OG, the first ever decentralized digital currency. It's famous, it's powerful, but it also has its problems. Mining Bitcoin requires immense computing power, which consumes a shocking amount of electricity. We're talking about the energy consumption of entire countries. This makes it very difficult for an average person to participate in mining. You need specialized, expensive hardware, and your electricity bill will go through the roof. Bitcoin is in many ways a game for the rich and the technically skilled. Now look at Pi network. It flips the entire script. Pi's biggest selling point is its accessibility. You don't need a supercomputer, you just need a smartphone, something billions of people already own. It uses a different kind of consensus algorithm, the Stellar Consensus Protocol, or SCP, which is far more energy efficient. You just tap a button once a day to prove you are a real human, and the mining happens on its own. This approach is all about inclusivity. It aims to put cryptocurrency into the hands of the masses. It's a completely different philosophy. So, where did this incredibly specific number, $314,159, come from? It's not just a random figure pulled out of thin air. It's actually a clever nod to the mathematical constant pi, which starts with 3.14159. The community latched onto this number as a symbolic goal. It's a way of branding the coin's value with its own name. It's part marketing, part meme, and part a declaration of ambition. This number represents the global consensus value, or GCV, that a significant portion of the Pi community has rallied behind. They are actively promoting this value in their own peer-to-peer transactions within the enclosed network. This idea of a consensus value is powerful. In the world of fiat currency, the US dollar, the Indian rupee, the government declares its value. In crypto, value is often determined by supply and demand on open exchanges. The Pi community is trying a third way. They are attempting to establish a value before it hits the open market. They are creating their own internal economy where goods and services are bartered for pi at this GCV price. There are online marketplaces where people are listing cars, phones, real estate for a few pi coins based on the $314,159 valuation. This is their proof of concept. By doing this, the community hopes to send a strong signal to the outside world. Now for the $1 million, or rather, the $314,159 question. Is this valuation even possible? Let's look at the arguments in favor. The biggest argument is the sheer size of the network. With over 55 million active users, Pi has a distribution network other crypto projects can only dream of. If all these users start using Pi for everyday transactions, it could create a massive, self-sustaining economy. Think about it. If you could pay for your coffee, your groceries, or your rent using Pi, it would have genuine, real-world utility. But the arguments against this are powerful and grounded in basic economics. Let's do some simple math. If one Pi coin is worth $314,159 and there are 100 billion coins, the total market capitalization would be over $31 quadrillion. To put that in perspective, the entire GDP of the whole world is around $100 trillion. The value of all the gold ever mined is about $13 trillion. This single cryptocurrency would be worth more than all the money and assets in the entire world combined. From a purely mathematical standpoint, it seems impossible. Skeptics argue the community's consensus value is a fantasy that ignores supply and demand. Once Pi hits open exchanges, the massive supply would likely create huge selling pressure. Many early miners would want to cash out. A flood of sellers would, by traditional theory, drive the price down. When we step outside the echo chamber of the Pi community, what do financial experts think? What do crypto veterans think? Opinions are sharply divided. Most lean toward heavy skepticism. Many mainstream financial analysts dismiss the $314,159 price tag outright. For them, the math simply doesn't add up. An analyst from a major publication might say, a multi-quadrillion-dollar valuation is not just ambitious, it's a departure from reality. No asset in human history has ever commanded such a value. There is no logical reason a new cryptocurrency would be the first. They point to the lack of a live open market and to missing tangible utility as major red flags. Even within crypto, many experts remain cautious. Dr. Anna Becker, a fintech CEO, might offer a more nuanced view. The power of a 55 million strong community should not be underestimated. Network effects are real and can create tremendous value, but that value must be built on real-world use cases and a sustainable economic model. A price set by belief alone is a bubble waiting to pop. The project's success will depend on the utility it can deliver, not on a meme-based price target. This highlights the gap between social momentum and economic fundamentals. Their message? Hope for the best. Prepare for a much more modest reality. So, what are we really looking at here? On one hand, you have the potential for one of the greatest wealth transfers in human history. If the $314,159 GCV becomes a reality, even in a fractional sense, millions of ordinary people around the world would see their lives transformed. Someone who has mined 1,000 Pi coins, a very achievable number for an early user, would be sitting on over $314 million. It's a staggering thought. This would validate the years of patience and belief. It would be a victory for the common person over the centralized financial system. The story would be legendary, a tale told for generations about how a simple tap on a phone changed the world. This dream of immense profit is incredibly seductive. It's the primary driver behind Pi's continued growth. Every new user who joins is buying into this possibility, this lottery ticket. The community is filled with stories of what people plan to do with their potential wealth. Pay off debts, buy homes for their parents, start businesses, donate to charity. This isn't just about greed. For many, it's about hope for a better life, for financial freedom that has always seemed out of reach. The emotional stakes are incredibly high, which makes the entire project both exciting and dangerous. The risk of failure is just as massive. The biggest risk is that the Pi coin launches on the open market and its value is nowhere near the GCV. What if it launches at $1 or 10 cents or even less? For someone dreaming of millions, this would be a crushing blow. The future of Pi network hinges on one critical event, the launch of the open mainnet. This is the moment when the walls come down and Pi coins can be freely traded on external cryptocurrency exchanges. It's the moment of truth. The Pi core team has stated that this will only happen when two conditions are met. First, a significant portion of the community must complete their KYC. KYC, or Know Your Customer, means proving you are a real unique individual to prevent fake accounts. Second, a mature and viable ecosystem of apps and utilities must be built on the Pi platform. The focus on building utility is absolutely crucial. They are encouraging developers to build Pi apps, applications that use Pi as their native currency. Imagine a social media platform where you tip creators in Pi, a freelance marketplace where you pay for services in Pi, an e-commerce store where you buy goods with Pi. If millions of people are actively using Pi for these purposes, it creates genuine demand for the coin. This demand, based on real utility, is what could give Pi a stable value when it finally hits the open market, independent of the GCV hype. The KYC process is another major hurdle. Verifying the identities of tens of millions across different countries and languages is a massive logistical challenge. The community needs to be patient and focus on the core team's vision. The future value of Pi will likely not be decided by a single magic number, but by the collective actions of its millions of users.